bright background. The sun is set so in the back. I wanted to clarify that my email to the Vermont Judiciary, my recent emails to the Vermont Judiciary and Officer View were not knowingly false. When I'm pulling up all this information and I'm putting it in an email and connecting all the dots, I'm not really thinking about, everything runs together as far as time goes. So I wasn't paying attention, wasn't even thinking about the fact that it was mid-July and I haven't had to medicate any problems with this cancer since I think the beginning of April. And about the big shit like collapsed lungs, that was the most extreme, or some cancer blowing up and making my hand feel like I was getting pounded with the ball bat, or a lymph node in the groin blowing up with cancer and I couldn't move my right leg or left leg and it was almost impossible to walk, or whatever. The problems are still there. If I stand for too long to fly a sign, I start hemorrhaging. I still go into renal failure every single day. The cancer was everywhere. All those tumors and scar tissue are still there. But my point is, I wasn't calculating that I've gone April, May, June, and now almost all of July, and maybe even part of March without having to treat any issues. No infections, no dental infections, no respiratory infections, nothing from the cancer. I hammered that shit. I only realized that most of the issues were dealt with because once they had me move from that camp and I moved out to Essex and I ate at McDonald's day in and day out, I thought the cancer meds mixed with the greasy McDonald's food that I wasn't used to is what was causing all the problems. We now know it's just fucking food poisoning. I get food poisoning from this motherfucker at least 3-4 times a fucking week, and I thought it was that mixed with cancer meds. Now we know it's just, I don't think it's the cooks or how they handle the food. It's got to be at the manufacturers. It's got to start before the food ever hits the restaurant, because I make them cook everything to order. So it is fresh, it's hot when I get it, and I'm still getting sick. But anyway, I quit taking the cancer meds because I thought it would remedy that. And I thought, I'm symptom free. I'll just start them again if I start having issues. That was, I think, mid-April. Might have been late March, something like that. And I've never had to go back to taking the chemo pills or any antibiotics. Only thing I'm having to treat is the pain from the damage that the cancer did. I have never, ever had this long of a time without at least a dental abscess, or which is another very painful. All the teeth, dental issues that it caused is still painful. But basically I haven't had to treat any infections or pneumonias or matter of fact, I recently got some sort of sinus and respiratory infection, and I had a fever and beat it on my own. I didn't need to medicate it at all. So it looks like that ordering antibiotics, that doesn't mean I was taking them as I was getting them over the years. A lot of times I was ordering them and just hoarding them, not necessarily in the same packaging. Sometimes they were in empty pill bottles that were hidden inside of old aluminum cans that I cut the top off and then used metal tape to we seal it from the inside so it would be impenetrable to any type of uh, what's it called? Like a X-ray vision sort of surveillance where they can see everything in your backpack and all of that. It would just look like an empty aluminum can, underneath some leaves somewhere. And then once the problems got bad enough and I was having them consistently, remember when I started taking it every single day along with the antibiotics and a dose of baking soda every single day while I was at the other camp, and I was eating bagels and cream cheese. I wasn't eating anything greasy. I couldn't fry anything. And as soon as we did the deep cover op where they pretended to arrest me, and I come over here, and I've got no place to cook. It's too damn cold to cook without a camp, and I'm eating this shit every fucking day. I thought, okay, these meds ain't going with this. And I thought that another thing is, apparently all those cancer meds are any medication. It doesn't matter what it is, even narcotics. If you take it with fatty foods, you have better absorption. If you take a high dose of like a narcotic and you eat something fatty, you can, it's going to have a much more profound effect on you than if you ate it with toast, which is basically what I was doing with the bagels and cream cheese. So that may have played a role in them in the meds being way more effective than they were while I was eating much bland. I mean, the cream cheese had fat in it, but hell, we're talking what, a teaspoon, a tablespoon per bagel, so that's not a lot compared to what I get here eating all this fried shit day in and day out. And plus we don't know what's actually in this meat, plus it's all fried in grease, so there you go. So I'm just saying I wasn't lying when I said I'm stage 4 cancer. The evidence that they tried to kill me with deliberately accelerated cancer is still there. There's still a big knot, big swollen obvious lymph node on my back, which it's not even causing problems. It used to be painful for me to sit backwards on that thing. It's still awkward because it protrudes, it's uncomfortable, but which apparently they've realized that, and that's one of the reasons why they've escalated their violence, trying to lure me into houses and vehicles and whatever else, and St. Joseph's and the courthouse saying, oh, we don't have any fucking forms of RFA request here. Maybe you should just come down and hand them in here. Fuck you. Bullshit. That tiny little courthouse that I'm sure the surveillance is nowhere near as sophisticated as it is at the other one. They had cameras everywhere and actual marshal. Do your fucking job. Not private security that's owned by Epstein's pals. So I'm going to send out, when I write my new email, of all the new confessions I've recently gotten, including last night when I went out to fly. Everybody's out there all of a sudden changing their story. Oh, we don't make any money, and trying to convince me that they're not well-paid ICE agents. Okay, you're watching my social media. Guess what that means? You're well-paid ICE agents, you dumb motherfuckers. Which brings me to another point. Vermonters, when you're throwing money at all these people flying signs who have been recruited over to ICE agents to fuck with me and get in front of me when I'm already there flying and threaten me and try to get me off of the spot and then stage stupid shit with Mr. Volvo who tried to get me in her car, you're giving hundreds of dollars a day to each one of those fucking ICE agents. You got all these signs saying ICE out, abolish ICE. Meanwhile, you're funding the motherfuckers. Not the same way Congress is with taxpayer dollars. You're keeping them high as hell on their own Iran-Contra supply. And then look at me like I'm a fucking nuisance. Are there a few people who go, oh, okay, I want to help this lady, not the fucking ICE agent? Yeah. I've been telling you all they're ICE agents. They're still making hundreds of dollars a day. And when they fucking get 1,000 views, they get up in my face, oh, I only make $10. They were bragging about making $40 in 20 minutes. This amount, they got a couple of $100. They don't fight for those spots if they're not making a hell of money. If they were only making $1 every 2 hours like me, they wouldn't be fighting, trying to get the spot away from me. So fuck out of here with that. That don't even make no sense. You'd go stand on any corner just like I do, because it wouldn't make any difference. So when you read it to me, you're confessing to being an agent. You stupid fuck. Oh my God. And that's another reason why I haven't said anything about beating the cancer yet. Number one, I'm not. Number two, I've been too fucking dealing with countless confessions pretty much on a daily basis by Epstein's private ICE Gestapo. Good news is, you motherfuckers are going to have to find another. I think you already understood that I beat the cancer. That's why you've been trying to lure me into these places to have somebody jab me with the fucking lethal dose of fentanyl IM. Guess what? IM still takes 20 minutes to hit you. That gives me a time to tase you and fucking kill you first. You'll die first. $20, it'll start kicking in and I'll get high. I still have another 20 minutes before I start to die. So even if you hit me with an IM shot of fentanyl, I'm going to have an hour to kill you. And make sure everybody in that motherfucker gets a big whiff of mace in their face. And while you're all coughing and hacking, I'm going to be tasing every one of you to death. So fuck around and find out. And just because I'm not going septic and dying from the cancer, the evidence is still there. I'm not a doctor. I can't make a diagnosis. Right now, the record for the investigation says I'm terminal with stage 4 cancer. Until they examine me and say otherwise, I can kill you in self-defense. I'm still a vulnerable adult. The evidence that you tried to kill me is still there. And there's no ruling out that another problem may pop up at some point. We don't know. I don't anyway. But that's one thing more. It's not going to do worry that I have. I don't worry about hospital. I'll be off the atenolol within a month. I'm down to 5 milligram tablet, which is to say 12.5 milligrams once a day. I'm doing it the same way I weaned off I was taking 25 milligrams twice a day, and I just redose as the symptoms occur, but that's how you get down to 12 milligrams a day, and then eventually from there I'll be able to wean completely off with very little discomfort. So there will be no reason for me to go into a hospital at all. So those of you in the investigation hoping I'll audit Battleboro or go into this hospital or that hospital or whatever, I've got no reason to. And they know that. I think that's the reason why they're trying to hit me with a lethal dose of fentanyl. So, dangerous on the outside. There's no more ticking time bombs inside of me anymore.